Let me put it this way. The human mind is similar to a computer in a sense that a computer is made up of programs. So the more programs that you install in a computer is the more that your computer becomes slow, or is the more that it slows down in terms of its speed and ability to process information faster. In essence, the human mind is similar to this computer in a sense that, the more that we accumulate our mind with a lot of stuff, some useful, some not useful, is the more that our minds slow down just like a computer, then eventually it crashes. So there's a very important program that you need to know about. Today I want to help you to come to this realization. See, belief is a program that creates our reality. It's all BS. Belief system. Because I know that many people, when they heard me saying that today we're going to be talking about clearing our minds, they thought that we're going to be talking about this process of instant switching off the mind, which is actually not correct. Therefore, whatever we are believing, we are creating. In essence, we live in a world that we think of. Because when you talk of clearing our minds, many people think of instantly having that mind switched off. But that's incorrect. That's not correct, and that's impossible, because the more effort you try to use to get into the effortless state is the more harder it becomes. However, there shouldn't be any effort used to try to get into that state or in that process. In contrary to that, it should be about surrendering. The more we surrender is the more that our heart opens up, and when our heart opens up, it creates more space for what? For clearing the mind. Let me tell you something. When you let go of societal expectations, or societal calligraphies as I call them in my book, when you let go of what your family or your family members think of you or expect of you, when you let go of what your friends or your squad expects and think of you, and you tap into yourself, you get to learn how to love yourself 100%. When you do that, in essence, your mind dissolves. Because when you look at this world that we're living in, most of us don't know how our minds operate. Most of us don't know how we operate. Most of us don't know the mysteries. And that's just a reflection of what's within ourselves. When we talk of the body, the mind, and the soul, all these three are interconnected. But sadly, most of us fail to see that we are living in a matrix. Therefore, everything that's been put out there, most of us, we fail to realize that it's a program. Most of the things that we consider as the truth, we fail to see that it's all a program. It's an effect of how we have been programmed, how we've been wired. Then in consequence, this is what fuels the mind. We have many of these programs, hundreds and thousands of them, and they fill up the mind, they accumulate the mind. Just like a computer, these programs, they fill our mind. They're the ones that make our minds to slow down. And just like a computer, we need to delete each one of these programs one by one, until eventually the mind gets to be cleared. Just to give you a hint, every time we look at people, what do we see? Can we look at people without judging them, without running into conclusions? Without looking at their race, their skin color, their ethnicity, all the small aspects that make them up? Can't we look at people without judging them based on these small things that we use, as a way of identifying people? It's hard to do, right? Through my journey of life, I got to realize that in environments, communities, that I've been in, I realized that as people, we tend to identify people based on their race, their ethnicity, their nationality, and all these, aspects. And it's these aspects that we use to jump or to draw conclusions for other people. We look at someone and their skin color, and already we have made conclusions about them that people of this particular race are like this, or they are in this way, just by looking at their skin colors. So here is what I want you to realize. These things that we use to judge people, these things that we use to draw conclusions about people are the ones that cause a blockage in our minds. And the sad part is that they create a tremendous amount of confusion in our minds. They create a tremendous amount of problems in our mind. Why? Because we cannot let go. We are failing to let go, unlike children. Because when we were children, we lived freely. When we were children, we could easily let go. We were living in a present moment. That's why we were so powerful. Now, relating all this to the message that I'm trying to convey here, it's all about keeping the inner child in you alive. It's all about keeping the inner child in you active. That's the only way that you can get to clear your mind. Because to clear your mind, you first have to allow the inner child in you to be alive and active. You have to allow yourself to be a free spirit. Keep that spark of the inner child in you alive. Because when you do that, your mind gets to be cleared. Do the things that you did when you were young. Because when you were young, you didn't care about a whole lot of things. You lived freely. The reason why many people have been taken out of that program is because when they were growing up, the society, the friends, the parents, the system, the school, and other institutions out there spoke in them a new program. Everything changed the moment that you started to hear this question: what do you want to be when you grow up? It's at that moment where your authenticity was stolen. You began to think so much about what is it that I want to be. Maybe I want to be a doctor. Maybe I want to be a lawyer. Maybe I want to be an engineer. Maybe I want to be this. Maybe I want to be that. It's at that moment where you're asked what do you want to be by the society, by your friends, your family, your church, your whatever, that you were taken out of your program. You know that most of you, what you wanted to be when you're doing standard 1 is different from what you want to be when you're doing standard 7. It's different from what you want to be when you're doing form 3. It's different from what you want to be when you're doing form 5. It's different from what you want to be when you're doing your A levels. Why? Because people kept on taking you out of your real program by asking you this question: what do you want to be? What do you want to study? The moment that you had this question, what do you want to be when you grow up? That's it. That was a spell cast on you. That was it. And it's at that moment now when your mind started to be filled with this program that I want to be this, that now your mind started to get out of the present moment. You started to not live in a present moment. You started now to think so much about the future, like what will happen, what might happen, what should happen. We have started to worry about the future. We have started to worry. We started to worry about the future, which has not taken place yet. There's no need to worry about something that you don't have control over. Sadly, in our planet Earth, we are doing totally the opposite of that. We are worrying about the things that we have no control over, events that we have not seen yet. We are worrying about people. We make assumptions, and assumptions make bad conclusions. That is why you assume you know certain people, when in actual fact, you are just assuming you don't know them. You assume you know Madam CEO, but you don't. You're just assuming. And we really have to take a reality check to clear our minds. We really have to be honest with ourselves to clear our minds. The human race is on a run from itself. We are slaves of our own minds. We live as prisoners to our own minds. All the times we feel the need to do something, but sometimes you really don't need to do anything. You just need to relax. When you do that, you will tap into the flow and the beauty of life. There's only two forces that control the universe. It's fear and love. And many people are running around like headless chickens. They're caught up in perpetual fear, distraction, the television that tells lies to your vision, the radio, and once you turn that off and tune into yourself, tune into the inner self of you begin to be illuminated. You begin to glow. Many of us all the times. We want to be doing something. We are afraid of the silence that awaits us, the vacuum, which is called the existential vacuum. But let me open your eyes to this. It is in that silence, it is in that void, it is in that existential vacuum where you find your true power. It is in that silence where you find your true power. And the moment when you start to embrace that, you clear your mind. You begin to clear your mind.